how long should one person date? How long should you date?
All right. How long one should date?
Yeah.
There is no duration that is fixed to that.
Okay.
Even when you get to the scriptures, the Bible, there is no law or rules that says that it should be 6 months or 2 days or 1 year.
Okay.
But we believe that it should not be long.
Okay.
So minimum, we estimate that at 6 months, and maximum it should be 2.5 years or 2 years. It's okay. Depending on our readiness and preparation towards it.
Okay. Which is where we are going.
Yes, please.
But then, even talking about dating, is dating very important?
Yes, it's very important. But there are two schools of thoughts about dating.
Okay.
One school of thought says that dating is setting a date with your friend so that you go somewhere, sit down, and then you interview the person or you talk to the person, you interrogate the person and know whether he or she is compatible, whether he or she will fit you, will be a suitable partner for marriage. Okay. Another school of thought says that dating is a relationship. That means we have proposed to the person, he or she has accepted the proposal, and we are moving on. So we have to maybe get a clarification before we can proceed.
Anyway, since we are talking about how to know you are ready for marriage, of course, we are going to be talking about dating, that is a purpose-driven dating, or a relationship that is leading to marriage. That is where I am coming to. Okay. So how does one know that they are ready for marriage? I know it's broad. Today we are going to have a lot of discussion. How to know you are ready for marriage? What are some of the things to look out for in yourself? We'll get to the point to look at some the other person, but in yourself, what are some of the things what are some of the indicators that shows that you are ready for marriage?
All right. So thank you for this important question.
All right.
I think 2 days ago, I was having a discussion or a group study with some young folks who believes that the time or duration of relationship is not important. Okay. And so we have come to a point where people are in 6 years relationship. Some are into 7 years. I've met people who are 9 and 10 years in relationship. Yes, please. And I keep asking myself. So this question is very important because it shows us our preparedness towards marriage. And your preparation towards marriage determines how long you spend in relationship. Okay. You get it. So if we prepare very well, that in the shortest possible time, they get married. Okay. But when the person is not well prepared or adequately prepared, then it means that it is in the relationship that we are going to now start preparing towards marriage, which is wrong. No military man, no effective soldier man learns how to shoot in battle. Okay. You don't learn how to shoot in battle on the battlefield. Okay. You learn how to shoot before you get to the battlefield. So if we don't prepare before we get to a relationship, it will take us 10 years to prepare. And that's why some people are in a relationship that is 6 years, 7 years, because the people they are in a relationship with are not prepared for marriage.
Exactly. I have seen people who are also have counseled ladies before that they will tell you that my guy is not ready. 6, like we are saying, 6, 7 years. And if they ask the guy will say, okay, you know what, I'm not ready yet. If you're not ready, then why are you in the relationship? So I agree with you. So 100%.
You ask the question, why are you in a relationship? Because people don't know they are ready or not. Today, relationship has become like a fashion. Okay. So once I'm in university, I'm the first year, everybody's having a boyfriend, a girlfriend. So now the pressure comes on me to have one. So whether I am prepared or not, whether I am ready or not, is not a problem. The problem is that as long as I feel I'm of age, I should enter into it. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of relationships don't work out. A lot of people are brokenhearted because they are not even prepared. They are not adequately prepared for even relationship, talk less of marriage. Okay. So it's very important that today we look at some of the key indicators or some of the key factors that you should assess yourself and ask yourself, am I qualified to enter into a relationship? Nobody goes to Legon, University of Ghana, because you are 25 years. Nobody goes. Right. You go because they have a criteria, they have a cutoff point for every course. And so you look at the results and ask yourself, am I qualified? If you are qualified, then you apply. Right. So in the school of marriage and relationship, they are cutoff point, they are fundamentals, they are preparations we must put on board before we step into it. Right. So the onus lies on you to know them before you ask yourself, am I really prepared or not? Right. As we speak now, I have a young lady in Legon's first year. And I told her, you are not going to date or be in a relationship now. I have to give you 2 years to prepare yourself.
That's right.
And she doesn't want to agree with me because she feels she's 23 years.
Everybody's
and so
dating
by
at the
age and by the virtue that she's in the university, then she's qualified. By the time I explained to her what it takes to enter a relationship, she agreed with me and saying that, I think, man of God, you are right. I have to wait and prepare before I enter into it. So it's very important we prepare. It's very important we are adequately prepared and mentored.
All right.
So that when we step into it, we don't cause more pain to other people and to ourselves.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we will come up and say that love is calm, love is wicked, and love is up and down.
Because we're not ready. You're not prepared.
You're not prepared.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody goes to battle.
Right.
Ignorantly.
Fantastic introduction.
Yes, please.
So back to the point.
All right.
So what are those indicators? What are those things you need to see in yourself to be sure that, yes, I think I'm ready?
Okay, so maybe for the purpose of educating our audience, let me share 3 or 4 of them with you, and I believe that everybody will be blessed listening to some of these things. Because, okay, so I start by saying that let's go back to the scriptures, the Bible, the context of the Bible. God is the author and the manufacturer of marriage. We need to get it right. So if we want to marry, we should go back to the founder, the creator of marriage. Let's look at his pattern, his ideologies, and his principles. They will help you, they will guide you so that you don't run relationship or marriage or love on your own experience or what you think is right.
Okay.
So if I go back to scripture, there is one thing that I see common. One of the scriptures is Genesis chapter 1. The Bible speaking that God created man and woman in his image and his likeness.
Yeah.
And it went on by saying that he created them male and female. Okay. Then chapter 2 of Genesis, verse 18 downwards to 24. Then, so the chapter 1 of Genesis talks about the composition of man.
Okay.
How we're created. In chapter 2, 18 and to 24, talks about marriage itself.
Right.
Then now, I have a question to ask. God created us male and female in chapter 1, 27, 28. And chapter 2, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 4 says that for this cause, a man should leave his father's house and be joined by the woman, and the two shall become one. Now, the question we should be asking ourselves is, why were we made male and female? But in this context of marriage, God did not say a male should go, leave the father's house, be joined by the female, and the male and female shall become one. No, the Bible said a man. But you created me as a male.
Okay.
So how come you are requiring that a man should marry, not a male? So that means that the male must grow to become a man.
Right. Right.
And then the female must grow to become a woman.
Okay.
The major problem we have in our generation now is that males are getting married and females are getting married. So in that context, we are saying that the male must grow to become a man. And that process of growing is called maturity.
Right.
So one of the acid tests you must ask yourself is, are you matured?
Are you matured
Have
enough?
you graduated from being a male to a man? Because let's assume I have a 5-year-old boy. Let's assume. Okay, I have a little girl, a daughter. My daughter is Beulah. She's a female.
Okay.
But is she a woman?
Okay, no.
No. So the fact that you are a female doesn't automatically make you a woman.
Right, right.
And the fact that you are a woman doesn't automatically make you a wife. There is a place of training, a place of maturity, a place of process, a place of education, mentorship that makes a female grows to become a woman.
Okay.
The same applies to a man. So the fact that a man is 34 years old, if he feels by virtue of age he's getting married, or he's by the virtue of his age, or by the virtue of where he works, he has to settle down, there's a problem.
Right.
The problem is that the question is, are you matured? Not how old are you?
Fantastic.
Because how old are you and how matured are you? They are not classmates.
Right. Right. Fantastic. Also, it's clear in the Bible, the book of Genesis, like you quoted, one of the first institutions God established after creation was that of marriage.
That's right.
And so we cannot enter into marriage anyhow, just anyhow. You must be matured enough. Like you said, you must metamorphose from being a male to a man to be able to be ready for marriage. Now, so talking about maturity, there are different kinds of maturity. As far as marriage is concerned, what are some, and you come to the rest of the indicators to look out for.
Sure.
But I want us to delve deeper into maturity. What are the things that you have to do take yourself through to be sure that you are matured enough to handle the institution of marriage? It's a sacred institution.
All right.
What are some of the things to do as far as maturity is concerned?
I will get there, but let me draw your mind back.
Okay.
Marriage is not for children.
Absolutely.
Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes 10, it says that woe unto a nation whose king is a child. The word woe means sorry or rest in peace in advance. In advance, a nation whose king is a child. So if you are taking a man as your husband, who is a child, the Bible is saying that sorry in advance. Because at the end of the day, you will cry.
There'll be distraction.
At the end of the day, you will bleed.
Right.
So dating or being engaging to an immature person dating or engaging or marrying an immature person. It's better you marry Satan. You will have peace than an immature person. I'm telling you.
Right.
Because immaturity is a different sickness on its own. It's a different ball game on its own. So we need to understand how important is it.
Very important. Yeah.
Because there are a lot of young men today who are working in big places and who are very, very immature. And one of the ways you will see an immature person is that you will see a young man who you think is educated, and yet he has 2 girlfriends. It's immaturity.
A young man who is educated.
Yes, he thinks he's educated. He thinks he's working and he's earning much. He thinks he's a big boy. And one of the accepts is that you see him dating 2 or 3 ladies at the same time. Because maturity tells you that Ajua and Akoso are one. It's maturity. A man who sticks to the wife for 30 years and being faithful for a wife for 30 years is not a fool. He understands that all women are the same. In that context. So when a person is matured, the way you handle issues in marriage, the way you handle issues in relationship, it's a blessing. A lot of divorce we are going through you will see the root cause of it that people are immature. So when we come to maturity, no man should downplay it. No man should downplay it. There are people who are married and they listen to their mothers more than their wives.
Mercy.
There are people who are married who are having affair with ladies who are not even equal to their wives. Why? Because they think that different women gives different pleasure. There are people who are married who are believing that side chicks are better than their wives. But the truth is that until you marry your side chick, you will know that the side chick, when it graduates to a wife, you will know that she's just as equal as your wife. So it's immaturity that is playing a lot of differences and a lot of problems in most marital homes. So now you're asking me, let's go deep to some of the areas we must mature.
Yes.
I think in one of our episodes, I just mentioned some of them. One of them is intellectual and mental maturity. Yes, please. I mean intellectual and mental maturity because the mind must be matured. Marriage is not for children. It's for people who understand. So if somebody spends 4 years to read BSc accounting, somebody spends 4 years to do degree in nursing, if that same person does not read a book on marriage, then how is he going to operate marriage? Do you get it? The rules for basketball is not the rules for football. You agree with that? So the rules for nursing, the rules for banking and finance is not the same rules for marriage. So that means a man can be anointed pastor with a mega church and be a bad husband.
That's true.
Because the rules are different. So we are saying that if you are looking at maturity, that means your mind, you must be matured to know how to communicate, to know how to treat a woman, to know gender differences. There are a lot of things we have to read to mature the head. So that when we enter marriage, we don't become a threat or an enemy or a pain to the other person.
To our own marriage.
That's right. Because there's something about ACT, ACT, and something we call ART, ART. They are almost the same, but there's difference. The ACT is the natural way of doing things. Just like somebody is talking. Everybody can talk. But there's a place of talking, which is an advance of talking. That is communication, where you learn how to communicate. The person who is on TV3 or any channel, who is reading news, is not a normal reader. This is an advanced way of reading. So when it comes to communication, the fact that you can open your mouth and talk doesn't mean you are ready for marriage. You must learn the acts of communication, the ART of communication. There are a lot of things that marriage demands that we learn. So if you don't learn and upgrade your head, then it means that you can't be a blessing. Because there are issues that the head must be engaged.
Marriage, somebody will say marriage is a head work.
That's right.
Talking about maturity, and you were mentioning how you even answer or handle situations
right.
in your relationship before we talk about marriage. The Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath.
That's an ethic in communication
Right.
that you don't know until you read. And a lot of women are disrespecting their husbands because of the way they talk, but they don't know. So if there are problems and challenges, real problems in marriage, that the head must function. If the head is not educated, you will commit a lot of mistakes. And at the end of the day, when you are divorced, you will sit down and then know that the problem was not the partner, it was you. You didn't have knowledge on how to handle it.
That's right.
How come a couple will be fighting, having issues in their marriage, attempting to divorce, and then they say, let's go see a counselor. You go see a counselor for 30 minutes and then the marriage is resolved.
The issue is solved.
You see that they carry some anointing? I don't think there's an anointing, but there's something they know you don't know.
I think there's maturity.
Good. Hosea says that for lack of knowledge, my people even perish. So even the godly ones, if you lack knowledge, you perish. If the foundation be broken, what can a righteous do? So that means that it's not enough to just have a degree. It's not enough to work in a big company. It's not enough to even have money. You must make sure that mentally, intellectually, you have educated yourself so that when the issues crop up in marriage, you'll be able to handle them better.
You are matured on all fronts. You're able to handle
issues,
any pressure, whatever it is that comes at you.
Better.
Fantastic.
Better. So that's intellectual maturity. Okay. There are about four more we can be sharing. But I think
please hear. It's very important.
Come again?
Yeah, please hear.
Okay, spiritual maturity is important.
Right. Because we are talking about the people, see, somebody watching us will ask, okay, we are talking about maturity. What do you mean? So it's important that we are actually breaking this in.
We talk about spiritual maturity.
Okay.
What do I mean by spiritual maturity? God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. Okay. God took his rib in silence and in the deep of Adam's sleep. That's the first time we are seeing anesthesia. He slept so deep. And one of the problems with our generation is that we don't want to sleep when we are dealing with God. Because our eyes are too open. We are instructing God that I like big breasts. I would like big breasts. God did not consult Adam. He made him sleep so that he doesn't interrupt the process of God.
Fantastic.
That is spiritually. So now God took his rib, formed the woman, and when Adam woke up from a deep sleep,
he said, wow. The bone of my bone.
He said, this is a bone taken from me.
Okay.
Now, how can a man in the deep of a sleep, God gave him a medicine to sleep. And in the deep of this sleep, this man could see that the rib was taken out of him. And this woman, this species I'm seeing for the first time, I know that is part, my rib is in her.
Right.
That is what takes us to spiritual maturity. That Adam was physically, the eyes were closed, but spiritually, he was descending.
That's right.
So it means that, see, why it's important is that there was something I saw there. When God created every animal, he brought the animal to Adam to name them.
Okay.
But when he got to Eve, Adam didn't name Eve as a dog.
Okay.
That means that dogs were brought, tilapia was brought, antelope were brought. But when Adam saw it, he knew that this is not a suitable helpmate.
Okay.
But when he saw a woman, he was able to pick that this is a bone of my bone. This shall become my wife. That means that, Pastor, in this world, there are about 8 billion people. Any woman can be your wife, but not any woman can be a wife, but not every woman can be your wife.
That's right.
So it takes spiritual discernment. Otherwise, a pastor can marry a witch.
It has happened a couple of times. Yeah.
So the fact that your eyes are open, the physical, doesn't mean that you are spiritually inclined. Okay. So it means that spiritually we must be matured when we are choosing our spouses. Right. Because not all that glitters is gold.
It's gold.
1 Samuel 16:7 says that man looketh at the outward appearance, but I go beyond it because the outward appearance can be deceptive.
So it is important that if you find somebody you want to marry, aside the physical whatsoever, you spend quality time praying into the relationship.
Exactly.
As a man, before you even start a relationship, you have to pray to ask God if
so that you will be God-led, you'll be spiritually descending enough.
That's right.
Because the truth is that one day, we know Moses in the Bible. Moses, he was a great leader, powerful leader, a pastor of 3 million congregation. Right. But one day he was walking barefooted in the wilderness. So you will look at a man walking barefooted in the wilderness and conclude that he's stranded. But another woman will look at such a man who is barefooted and said, I can see a Messiah in him.
Okay.
When they were counting prisoners in the days of Joseph, some people were counting Joseph as a prisoner. But A lady who is spiritual will know that he's not a prisoner, he's the prime minister.
Okay.
Because there are men who are riding Range Rover today. In 10 years, they'll be begging to eat. So it takes spiritually discernment for one to understand that and look at you and say, this man doesn't have money, but I can see in 7 years from now, he'll be a mega man so that I can connect to him. If we don't do that, then we are going to enter a relationship with the eyes.
I agree with you. I have my personal experience. I remember when I was going to, as it were, when I proposed to my wife.
Yes, please.
My wife is very highly spiritual.
Okay.
Before I came, she had visions.
Okay.
About the person that she was going to marry. Now, when I came, there were other people.
Yes.
Some were even outside, they had money and all of that. But when she saw me, she knew that I was the one.
That's
Why?
right.
Because she prayed into the relationship.
That's right.
If you see me at the time I was proposing to my wife, everything around me, as a matter of fact, I was a walking expression of risk. So if you say yes to me, you are risking your life.
That's right.
But like you said, she could tell because she prayed about it and she knew that this is the man that I'm supposed to start with. It didn't matter what anybody said, she was sure. And this comes to this point that there are times if you're not careful, if we don't spend quality time praying for ourselves, we also allow people who are supposed to be spiritual, like pastors and prophets, telling us to marry a particular person because that's what they see for us. And if care is not taken, you enter such a relationship and marriages, and your marriages break and collapse. There are issues because you didn't spend quality time, as it were, preparing yourself to be ready for marriage and to know when your Mr. Right or Mrs. Right comes. So I agree with you 100%.
There's a point I also have to put on board so that people understand how this thing is very important.
Right.
See, if the devil sees a potential in you, greatness in you, he will find any means, anyhow, to bring you down. When Samson met Delilah was a kid from the devil.
Okay.
So the devil can package cousins and nephews for you. That's why you have to be very spiritual. If the devil sees how far you will go in life, it doesn't matter. He can package somebody for you that will destroy you. So it's not a casual thing. It's a spiritual thing. If you don't take care, this try and error, one day somebody will marry a witch. Because my grandma made a statement to me when I was growing up. He said, young man, in life, make sure you descend before you conclude on issues. I asked her why. She said something. She said, if you get to the labor ward, and they have 10 babies there, you would not be able to know which one will become a president, which one will become an armed robber. It takes a discerning eye.
Wow.
There are many women who have left potential great men, and today they are suffering because all that glitters is not gold. You need a discerning eye. So spiritual maturity is important, and I can give you 5 reasons why it's important.
Well, we'll continue that one later.
Yes,
so the viewers, we'll come back to them later.
Sure.